Hello, in this video I will show you how to use our software, which is called Practice CS, for your time entry project management program that we use. And this is going to be for everyone that is billable. So for every single department except admin, this is the training for these people. So our Practice CS should be located already on your desktop. This is the link right here, the red icon with the clock, white clock. So if we double click on it, you will already have an email from CS Professional Suite where you will create your own password. Your ID is going to be your email address, and then you will enter your password in here. Once you're in here, your open firm is going to be MM for Miller Masmar. Your staff ID is usually going to be your last name. This is something that your administrator can provide to you. The only issues that can come up is if somebody else has already the same last name and we already have that last name in our system, then we need to change it a little bit, but usually it should be your last name. And then you're going to enter the same password one more time. And you are in here. The most important thing is to make sure that we have the right layout. So what you want to do is once you are in Client Dashboard, you want to go ahead and click on the Select Layout right here on the right side, and you want to make sure that you have the new MM Client Dashboard selected. Okay. So first I'm going to show you how to put in your time. So if we go to Staff and Time Expense Entry, this will create this page for you right here. You will have your name automatically in here. You will have the today's date in here. Once you click on this arrow, you can go ahead and choose whichever date you want to go to. The red means that you have already put in some time, and when you kind of just go over that date with your mouse, it will show you that it's, for example, this one, it's 8 hours entered. So that's how you would know which ones you're missing. Once you're in our client here, basically the entire list of our client is created right here. There's many of them, but the good thing about it is that once you are putting just 3-4 letters of that name, it will categorize it for you. You can make sure that you're choosing the right name. So for example, if I just do AB, this will give you everything that has IB next to it. So if I'm putting time for George Abed, my engagement is going to be mostly tax. If it's audit, then it's going to be audit. What it means is basically right now this client has only a tax project created under his name, and I will show that to you in a second. Once we go into projects, this is where you will see the projects that we have currently running in his name. So we have his 2018 1040, and then we have his Q4 planning. You only want to see in here the open ones, meaning the only ones that haven't been closed out yet. But if you need to see the closed ones, all you got to do is unclick this checkbox in here, and this will give you everything. It's okay to have this opened, but once you're done with looking, make sure you check this box back, because it can make things very confusing if you have something open in projects open in here that have been already completed or canceled. So you choose your 1040. And this will take you directly to our tasks, which we will talk about it in a second also, about the task. I like to call it all the steps that need to be taken to complete the project. So, you know, it starts with organizer, tax receive, check-in of information, preparation, review, all that stuff. So that's your task. So if we are, for example, if we are preparing, we'll just put prep. It will choose automatically activity. So once you once you put in the task, the activity will be created for you automatically. And once you tap through it, the rate will pop up for you automatically. So all you have to do is put in the hours. So for example, if you spend an hour on this project, you will put in 1.2. And I will explain that in a moment. And then in the comments area, all you want to put is, if you're just preparing, all you got to put is preparation. We don't want anything, any summaries in here, any Excel. It should be very generic. Just for our invoice information, when we need to provide the client with details, we know that you were preparing. If you want to be more specific, you can say, for example, preparation of Schedule C. If you have any comments for the biller, you can put it in here. I prefer it also in the comments area because I can always delete it later, but it brings it to my attention quicker than this here, because I can see this in the WIP, which I will show you where I see that in just a moment. So first, let me show you why we put in the 1.20. So what we like to do is give you this little cheat sheet, meaning that 50 minutes equals 1 hour to us. So you do have, for billable time, so you do have that 10 minutes to kind of organize your paperwork, see what you're doing, see what you're working with, see if you're missing anything, and then start working on the billable. We don't want you to just sit down and start doing the billable work. That's not the point here. So this is just a little cheat sheet of how to put in your billable time. So for example, if you're working 5 minutes, that's going to be 0.10. If you're working 40 minutes, that's going to be 0.80. So you will have this in your office, in your cubicle, so you can always use it to use it as your kind of backup and your cheat sheet. If you don't have this, please ask our admin. Okay, so this is where this came up from 1.20. Let's go back to it again. The 60 minutes, if I said I worked on it an hour, I put 1.2. Okay, so this is how you put in your time in basically. I recommend on putting the billable time on everyday basis, just because I understand that you guys work on a lot of things and you might forget on what you worked on if you don't put it on an everyday basis. However you want to track this, whatever works for you. If it's, for example, only putting 0.10 for now, and then at the end put in how many minutes, hours you worked on it at the end. I also get that sometimes you're working on something but you are interrupted and somebody asks you to, hey, can you help me out with this? Then you got to start working on something else. However you want to track it, I would talk to the staff also and see how they do it, because sometimes they can give you a good recommendation, and see what works for them might also work for you. But this is pretty much how you put in your time. So let me show you now how to understand the project and the task area in here that we already kind of discussed. So I'm just going to delete this really quickly here so it's no confusion. Okay, so if we go, so that's pretty much it, what you'll be doing as far as time entry. Obviously, you're going to be also managing your projects, which is in here. You can just do select item, and if I just do myself, my calendar will pop up in here. Okay. So this is kind of already taken from my Outlook calendar, which is great because I have it on both places. And you can do it by day, you can do it by week, you can do it just by today, however you would like. So that's pretty much it as far as what you will use under staff here. So it's only time and expense. Your dashboard, that's just going to give you your overview of all the projects. You can kind of click on it and it will organize it for you by project number, however you would like, by client. This is a very user-friendly software, so it definitely works with you. I like to play around with it, and I always tell people to kind of click around, play around, give yourself a couple days to kind of see what it does for you, because it can do so much, and you're not gonna invoice anybody. You're not gonna make any adjustments to our data here. Everything is fixable. It's a very user-friendly software. So let's go now into projects. If we go to clients and dashboard, this is where you will have all the projects. So for example, if we play around here with our client, this is our one of our individual clients. In the first section here, which is the overview, under notes section, this is where we will put anything that is important for the entire team. So for example, if a client is moving, if a client has a new contact information, if we need to do something different for our next year for taxes, this is where you will put it in. And all you do is you add a note here, and it will give you the date, your name, and you can basically just put everything in here. Once you click on the next tab and go back, it will be saved for you. I'm going to delete this to not make it confusing. Your client information, this is where you will find the address, the contact name, the contact number, the email address, who's the manager, who's the partner, the entity, if it's a SCA client, if it's a financial advising client, this is where you will see it too. So pretty much the entire contact information will be in this area right here. The billing summary, this is the year end, so obviously we didn't do anything yet in 2019, so that's why this is all 0. As far as what you need from this overview section is mostly going to be the client information. And of course, admin can also assist you with this as well. In the open items section in here, this is where you will see any outstanding invoices. Obviously, this client doesn't have anything outstanding, that's why it's blank, but once they do, it will be right in here. The AR ECAP, again, it's very similar to this. This will give you everything that we have invoiced, receipt for this year, and the prior invoicing. This is where this part comes in. Anything that we have invoiced prior, these invoices will be in here. But as far as your interest is, I mean, we just need you to understand where it is. The billing department can also assist you with the invoices anytime. This in here, this is the kind of the work in process that we have right now. So we're working on this client's 1040 right now. This is where all these numbers come by. So if we need to see the details where this $2,165 came from, all we do is go to here and we can see where it came from. It adds up to $2,165. So this is something that we need you to kind of be aware of too if you're working on this client. If you see that this is going over budget, to kind of bring it to the manager's attention. Okay, next thing we're going to discuss is the project area right in here. So this is where you will find all the projects that are right now open for this client. So obviously for this one, we only have the 2018 1040. We see who's assigned to it, we see who is responsible, what is the tracking, which we will talk about it in a second. All that information is right in here. So if any manager goes into this, they can see that, for example, this one is review completed, so they can talk to the reviewer and see where the process is. All right, so let's go more in detail in the project here. If we just double click on it, this will take you to the separate box of that project where you will find, we can change the description in here. So I like to put in the year that we are doing. your engagement. This is where, when we're talking about time entry, this is where if it's a 1040, then it's going to be a tax service. If it's in a monthly accounting, month of January, then it's going to be accounting. Priority, we can change it to normal, high, or low. Review. Okay, so this is where all the trackings. Obviously, there's many of them here. I like to just kind of give you opportunity to kind of go through this so you are aware of all the ones that we have, because there's a lot of them. And this basically means that we need to update this tracking when our project goes from, the status goes from one status to another. So anytime it goes from, for example, from checking to preparer, or from preparer to reviewer, from reviewer back to preparer for clearing points, this is where you will change this. Underneath here, you will have the budget that the billing department will provide to you. I like this notes section as well. This is something, for example, this is from our billing department saying that, you know, the price is this, this was this much discount per Joey, so the total on the invoice should be this amount. Our staff also updated that they're waiting for the updated forms as of the 5th. So anything that is going on in this project, anything that we need to be aware of, where the status is, so we don't need to call you or email you, we would put it in here. You'll have the start dates, the complete dates, the due date that this is due, if it needs to be extended or not, this is where you will put it in. A responsible person, the staff assigned, and also you can create reminders for yourself. So like this one has it for 2/11 at 8 a.m. Audrey will get a reminder to update this project. Our task, this is also what we discussed when putting our time entry. Again, this is, I like to call it the steps that need to be completed to complete the project. So the first one would be getting the organizer, then the checking of information. So preparation, review, prepare and clearing points, reviewer clearing points, assembly, e-file or paper file, project build, delivery or project, and survey sent. You can kind of extend this too to see the entire description. You could also, for example, here we have the assigned staff. You can move this column just by dragging it to make it closer if you would like. So for example, you see that Tia did the organizer, she completed it and she did the check-in. Audrey's working on preparation, Mark is the reviewer. So all your stuff is all in here. The custom field, this is what we use whenever it's a SurePrep return or international, or we like to track it by also, you know, when we requested documents, just to give us kind of like when was e-filed, just to give us options on how to track this project better. But mostly what we've been using is this notes section in here and the tracking. Also, going back to the task, I forgot to mention, each of these tasks, when you double click on it, it will also give you kind of exactly the same box like we just had it here, where you will also have the tracking, and this is where you will need to update the tracking as well. So right now we know that this preparation is with preparer clearing points, and it's with Audrey. So there's two trackings, one in the main as the main project, and there's also tracking on each task, which is your responsibility to update whoever's assigned to it. The history of it is just basically anytime something was modified to the project, this is where it will come up. So if you see like a strange thing that happened to the project, you can also go to the history and kind of see who was the last one that touched it. So that's how you go in here under the projects. That's pretty much it as far as the project goes. If we continue in here to the 24 period history, this is where you will find each summary of each month and the entire year of how much we produced, how much we adjusted, how much we invoiced, how much we collected. You can kind of compare it to the past year on how we're doing. This one in here, it will give you like a more graphs and visual of the last 5 years, of again how much we produced, invoiced, and collected. The AR detail, this is where you'll find every single payment, every single invoice that was done for this client. The cool thing about it again is you can organize it by the date. If you click on this column, control date, it will, like I just click, it will control it for you or organize it for you. If you want to do it by bank account, then you just click and it will again organize it for you right here. The document section, this is where you'll find the engagement letters. Obviously this client is less than $1,000, so we don't have one, but I will show you in a second what it looks like on the client that actually is over 1,000. And then client notes, it's kind of the same thing like it is here, it's just a little bit bigger version. Once you put something in here, like if you add a note to this section, it will automatically be in here as well. So let me show you what the engagement parts. For example, this is also in here. The previous one didn't have anything outstanding, but if a client does have something outstanding, you will see it just like that. The only part is you cannot print anything or change or edit anything from the AR open items. It needs to happen in the prior invoices. So once you're in here, you can double click and you can save it. You can save and print right in here. It gives you options to do it through email. You can set email. You can do it through. You can save it to any folder on your just as a file. You can change it to Excel or PDF, or you can also print it in the printer. You can select your printer in here. So this is also new, which we didn't see before because the client didn't have anything outstanding. But once they do, this is how it looks like. And also under documents. So here we like to have the signed engagement letters. I also like to put in here the unsigned engagement letter group. So that way, if I'm missing a signed engagement, I know that I can look it up really quickly and know that it was prepared. So we can follow up with the client to get it signed. But basically, these engagements come from our drive, our P drive for signed, and V drive, like Victor, for unsigned engagements. And so once we just click on it, it will take us directly to the PDF version of it. And there's our letter. So the staff can check in here how much we are charging. Sometimes we need to update the budget for them because obviously when I'm first putting it in, I'm not sometimes sure on what forms we're actually going to be doing. So this is where you need to find the tax engagement and let me know if your budget is not matching this engagement. If you know that, for example, we are not doing the township personal income tax return, then I need to change your budget to $850. If you know that we have an additional state, then you need to tell me because there's $850 plus the additionals, because this one only included the federal and Virginia. So billing department needs to know if there's any changes to the return, any upgrades, because obviously we are creating your budget before you get started. So sometimes we're not sure of, how many states, what different forms, etc. So that's pretty much it when it comes to project. The admin will update any changes, but just so you know how to do it. And again, that's something that admin can always do for you. You just need to send them an email and let them know. But if you need to change anything, all you do is from your client dashboard, you right click on this name in here on the box and you go to edit client and it will open a new box for you where it has the client information and all that in here. So you can make changes in here. Once you're done, you just do enter and done and you are done. But again, this is something that our admin can update for you. let's go through our billing of rights. This should be on in your office, in your cubicle. So the first one is all scheduled work needs to have a budget, project, bill manager, and deadline entered into the system. So once you have all this, that's when you can start working on it. All staff has the right to ask for a budget and projects before starting work. So if you are missing any of this, please talk to your managers, your billing manager, billing department, or your manager to update this for you. Time for projects needs to be entered on a daily basis. So yeah, we put this in here for your own good, and I mean, I think this is something that you should do it from the beginning. It will just help to keep everything on track and to remember what you are working on. The status of a project needs to be updated in Practice CS as soon as the status of the project is changed. So this is where the project tracking comes in. Anytime it's going from one place, from one status to another, that's when you will update it. All new employees get trained by the billing department on using Practice CS. So this is kind of what this training is about. The 50 minutes equals 1 hour. For every hour spent on the client, you get 10 minutes to be used to enter time and organize client files. This is this little cheat sheet that we spoke about, which again will be provided to you, and you will have this in your office and your cubicle. One of the important ones, 50% lifeline needs to be used by the employee to communicate to the supervisor, bill manager, the status of a project when they used half of the budgeted time. So, which basically means once you have a budget of an hour and you already see that you've worked on it for 30 minutes and you're still, not even close on being done or not even halfway of being done, that's when you need to communicate it to supervisor, bill manager, for a couple reasons. Number one is that we are aware of it and we can act on it really quickly. So if you know that there's something else going on and we have budgeted like not enough, or this will take much longer, but we did it per our engagement letter, that's when we need to step in and start working on our change of order of the engagement letter. So this is where admin needs to create a change of order to the engagement saying, hey, we need to do extra this and this work. That's why we cannot charge you this anymore. We need to upgrade your fee to this price. So this is very important to make sure that you are on top of kind of aware of your budgeted time. And once you are in our 50 lifeline, then you need to communicate with the supervisor or bill manager. A reviewer should spend on average 15 minutes for every 1 hour of preparer's time expended. So this is for any person that is reviewing. 15 minutes is usually equal to their time, to the 1 hour of the preparer's time. Anytime assigned work is going over budget, it must be communicated to the supervisor or bill manager. So again, this kind of falls with this 50% lifeline. Once we follow this will kind of come automatically, but just being aware of your budget, being aware of how much time you're spending on it. And then the last one, which kind of falls into all of this as well, if the preparer is unable to resolve a technical issue within 20 minutes, they are to seek assistance from their supervisors. So we don't want you to, sit there and research and waste your time on updating and looking for something where we have managers that can probably answer that question pretty quickly. They're very knowledgeable and experienced. So, if you're sitting there for about 20 minutes and you're still stuck on this one thing, communication is the key. So we want you to communicate to your manager, supervisor, whoever, and so we can work as a team and solve the problem. We can move on. And the last thing that I want to kind of go over is how to manage your projects. So if you want to manage your project now, gonna play around with one of our billable stuff since I'm not billable. Okay. So if we do assigned staff is Audrey, this will pop up all the projects that she is assigned to. Okay, so you can do it again by tracking. You can do it by who's responsible. You can do it by the project description. You can do it by engagement, by the project number, however you like. You can kind of click here and the column will automatically organize it for you. But this will show you what Audrey is assigned to, and you can kind of check on your own schedule. And once you're in here, if you double click on any of these projects, like this will take you directly to it. So this will take you to where we were in client dashboard in the project area. This is the same thing. So you can, if you need to update this tracking, you can do it straight from here. You can, if you need to update the task, you can do it from this area as well. And also to put something on your calendar, for example, if Audrey is no longer working on this project and somebody else needs to be assigned to it, that person would literally just right click on the project and click on the schedule selected project, which will take them to the calendar right here, the staff calendar, and that's where you can kind of move this around to what time you can work on this project for. And this will give you the budget. This will give you like, for example, this is 9 a.m. to 1. So you can kind of move it around the way it works for you best on your schedule. Everything else in here is more for managers. You don't need to just kind of know where we are, I just need you to know where it is kind of thing. So you pretty much will not do anything with the firm dashboard. You could do reports on your own schedule, on your projects that you're assigned to, and billing department can definitely help you with that to create reports, and that way you can track your own projects, and you can kind of see, you can make it into Excel. That way, it's a little bit easier for you to organize it however you want it. It will pretty much do it for you. All right, and that concludes our training for Billable. Thank you.